Hi everyone, so today we're going to be talking about how to complete this final project in EDU 350. So starting with step 1. So here you can see in the presentation, step 1 is choosing your standards for different content areas. So really important, if you're doing preschool, then you use the Illinois Early Learning Standards. If you're doing K through 6, you use the Common Core Standards. WIDA is for ESL students. So if you're thinking of doing something with EL students, then you should include WIDA language descriptors. Now, um, so um, if here in the presentation I have the standards, here's pre-K early learning, Common Core reading and math, social studies, and science. The early learning standards include every subject, so if you're doing preschool pre-K, you only use these. If you're doing K through 6, you would use reading, math, social studies, and science from here. So this actually should be deleted. So what I'm doing in the first part is I'm just picking my different content areas and standard from each content area. One of them has to be literacy, so that's already filled out for you. So what I'm going to do then, I already have literacy. Let's say I'm doing kindergarten, so I'm going to start grade level kinder. My unit theme is going to be plants. And then here I can put a description of, just a general description of students. Kinder students are 5 to 6 years old. They enjoy hands-on materials. They are beginning to learn how to read and write and etc. So I can just write a couple of sentences and here for that. Now, where it says standards for literacy, so I go here and I look at my kindergarten standards, and so my theme is plants. So I can say, okay, I want, so I'm going to go to, because it's plants, I'm going to go to the informational text for reading. And I'm going to say, okay, with prompting and support, ask and answer questions about key details from the text. So that's going to be my my literacy standard. So I'm going to paste it here, and then I'm going to put Common Core State Standard RIK.1. So that's how you write the standards if it's Common Core. You put CCSS, and then RI is reading informational. If it was reading literature, I would write RL. So I put in the standards for all of my content areas. So because I'm doing science and my theme is plants, because I'm doing my theme is plants, I'm going to choose the science standards. I'm going to put kinder, and find the science standards. So here, this one, use observations to describe patterns of what plants and animals need to survive. So I'm going to put that here in my standard. And then I'm going to put for science, NGSS, that's the name of the standards, Next Generation Science Standards, K-LS1-1. K-LS1-1. So, and then my content area is science, and so on. So you are picking, so at least one has to be literacy. You can do multiple literacies, but you need to choose 3 standards from different content areas. So for example, I could do 2 literacy, and then 1 science and 1 math, or 2 literacy and then maybe 1 science and 1 social studies, since my theme is plants. So at least one has to be literacy, but literacy, for example, covers reading and writing. So maybe I want a reading standard, a writing standard, and then 2 science standards, or a science and a social studies, since it's plants. So think of it like that. If I am choosing to make differentiations for EL learners, then I need to put in the WIDA language descriptors. So that's essentially how you do part 1 of this assignment. So again, if you're doing Common Core, you put CCSS and then RI for reading informational text, RL for reading literature, W for writing. So that's essentially how you do it. And then the grade level, and then the number or the letter for the grade level, and then dot the number of the standard. For science, it's NGSS. For if I was doing preschool, then you would type the standard as Illinois Early Learning Development Standards, and then put the number. So if I was doing the preschool, let's say I would do literacy, I would say 1.A.ECA. So put this here. So this whole thing would go here. So if you're doing preschool, you're not putting this, you're putting the specific one that you are doing. Because as you can see, this 1A encompasses 4 different things. So be very specific when you're choosing exactly what you're doing. So Illinois Early Learning Development Standards, ILELDS, and then the specific standard that you're putting. So again, that's if you're doing preschool. This is if you're doing kindergarten, K through 6. So just remember that. And I also challenge you that if you are doing early childhood, to not just focus on preschool, to challenge yourself with maybe doing like a 1st or 2nd grade lesson. A lot of times people forget that early childhood overlaps. There's only so many preschool jobs out there. So just I encourage you to challenge yourself, even if you're studying early childhood, to do a 1st or 2nd grade lesson.